As you all know, my name is Arlene J. Ramsey, and the name of this evening's show is called Everyone Let's Talk. Today we are going to have part two of the discussion of the Karmelo Anthony's case. Now, I'm not sure how many of you have been following this case. However, some pretty interesting chain of events has unfolded. Now, let's get into it. So, it seems as if now that the case has seemed to concluded, it seems as if we are now starting to see actual video evidence of what has taken place at the track meet. Now, I'm not sure how many of you have followed the case, but we do know that they concealed evidence. There were no jury of Karmelo Anthony's peers. They did not allow Karmelo Anthony to take the stand. I am not sure if his parents thought that that was a good idea for him to not take that stand. However, Karmelo Anthony did not take the stand, so he did not have the opportunity to speak for himself, nor was he cross-referenced by the plaintiff's attorney. We have also found out that the gentleman that invited Karmelo Anthony under the tent, who Karmelo thought was his friend, went on stage, took oath, and lied in court. Stated that he did not know Karmelo Anthony. Comes to find out that we see pictures of him and Karmelo Anthony several times that they hung out together. They have hung out with family. Supposedly, Karmelo Anthony's girlfriend is the play cousin or friend cousin to the friend that invited Karmelo Anthony under that tent, to which that young man went in court and denied that he has known Karmelo Anthony. With that being said, you all will be glad to know that there are now, let me count, 5 powerful attorneys who are stepping up, working together, and will work towards getting an appeal for the Karmelo Anthony case. And they are trying this case pro bono. I would like to list the name of the attorneys and where they are practicing law and give you the total of years collectively between all of them. This seems to be very promising for Karmelo Anthony, and I find that I must get into this before I get into my thoughts. So now, the lead counsel that will be on this case is his name is Russell Wilson II. He works out of the law office of Russell Wilson II out of Dallas, Texas. Mr. Wilson II has 30 years of practice under his belt. The second person, who is the co-counsel, her name is Brooke Claus. Brooke Claus is from the Ben Crump Law, PLLC, practicing out of Frisco, Texas. She has 5 years of practice under her belt. Another co-counsel is Sean. Please forgive me if I mispronounce his last name. He seems to be of Indian background or maybe Arabian background. The last name seems as if it's pronounced Daradia. He is practicing from the Daradias law firm out of Dallas, Texas. He has 11 years of practice under his belt. The second co-chair, or the second chair, is Michael L. Warr, out of the law office of Michael Warr. He's from Fort Worth, Texas, having 43 years of practice under his belt. Last but not least, we have the third chair, Gary L. Bledsoe, from the Bledsoe Law Firm, PLLC. Mr. Bledsoe practices out of Austin, Texas, with 50 years of service under his belt. Collectively, between all 5 of them, there is 139 years of practice under their belts collectively. Not only is this a good look with their going for an appeal, Ben Crump actually posted this post with the list of attorneys that are now on the case. This case is also a diverse, this new counsel is a set or a conglomerate of diverse individuals. We have Caucasian people, we have indigenous people, we have a woman, we have someone of Indian or Arabian descent. So where Karmelo was judged by a jury not of his peers, not of diverse background, this new council is showing that they're coming together with 139 years collectively with attorneys that are all from diverse backgrounds. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, I'm not sure if you all know someone by the name of Charleston White. He's out there, and then let's say he's like an influencer. He knows many actors, actresses, hip hop artists, you name it. Charleston White has been, speaking his concerns regarding this case ever since this case has taken place. And when the verdict happened, Charleston went on. He did what he did best, contacted some people, and quietly raised $1 million so that they can work on hiring attorneys to work towards getting an appeal for Karmelo Anthony. Turns out that Mr. White has been disappointed by his attempts to get Karmelo Anthony's parents on the same page to hire attorneys to get an appeal. The parents asked if Charleston White, can they have the money? And he stated that unless we are working on an appeal, he is not distributing any finances. So after that, the parents thought that maybe is it okay that they open another GoFundMe or Give, Send, Go? So according to Charleston White, he felt that the parents did not care enough about Karmelo Anthony, and they were more concerned with raising more finances for themselves, opposed to raising finances to get an appeal for Karmelo Anthony to see if they can work on getting Karmelo Anthony's case to lessen, as their son is facing 35 years. And it turns out to be true that I stated the last time on the last show that his parents did walk out of the courtroom prior to the sentencing. The parents were disappointed by the sentencing and the way that the proceedings or the procedures happened, yet they walked out of the room and left Karmelo Anthony with no support. And I say again, in times like this, family is extremely important. It is imperative that we are able to cultivate a community. But it doesn't seem as if Karmelo Anthony actually has support and a community. Now, this doesn't take away the fact that he's a good kid, and it doesn't take away the fact that someone has lost their life. After my last show, Austin Metcalf's dad, there are 2 interviews of him expressing his concerns. And yes, he has said some derogatory things that I disapprove of, and it shows what type of person that he is. And it also shows that he did not necessarily raise his twins to be respectful of the space and boundaries of other people. However, he did say some poignant things that I think that as a society we should also take a look at. He continues to say that this is not a race issue, that this is a human issue. I want to repeat this, and I'm going to repeat this. This issue is not a race issue. It is a human issue. He went on to express again that he had forgiven Karmelo Anthony. And I say again, if the parents took that into account and showed the world that there were remorse for what their son have done, although he protected himself, would Karmelo Anthony be sitting in jail facing 35 years? We never know. Now, I know with many of our communities, not just the indigenous communities, communities outside of our community, sometimes we disprove of the solution without even trying the solution. Or we would say something is not going to work and you're not sure if it's going to work because you never tried it, right? But I say again, we need to boggle down and get right, good and right, with proper strategy, for how we're dealing with ourselves, handling ourselves in the face of opposition that is outside of the Black and brown community. That is just facts, right? I think the world, because this is a high visible case, and the world is watching, and people continue to talk about the parents on how they disprove of how the parents has handled this situation. And again, no one comes with a book on parenting. We're all doing it, learning osmosis, or taking some tidbits from the parents or the people who the elders that came before us. But no two generation is alike. Another thing I would like to point out, which I've said before and I'm going to say again, this matter with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is going to shift the paradigm on how the world deals with racism and bullying. I'm going to repeat. This matter with Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf, both of these young fellas will be the face of the paradigm shift on how society, the United States, deal with racism and school bullying. When the father said that this is a human issue, I agree. When we look at bullying, it is not a race matter, right? White children bully white children, white adults, Caucasian adults will bully other Caucasian adults, so on and so forth, right? That is a matter or a stigma. It is an ism in our society that we continue to turn a blind eye to. I want us to pay attention to how much visibility Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf have received. And ask yourself, for the children who have committed suicide, or we call it bullycide, has those children gotten that much visibility? Why is society dismissive of the children who were bullied and who have died by either the hands of the bully or by their own hands? Have we stopped to ask ourselves that question? And I need us to pause, because this is not just about having a conversation or just gossip or just talking about another topic. This is issues and schisms and isms that has been happening for decades, to where there's no real solution as far as the law is concerned. And once someone takes the law in their own hands, they are now held accountable for doing so. I don't know what you guys think about Austin Metcalf's father, but he knows what type of sons he raised, right? I don't know if this is true. There are rumors going about that Austin Metcalf used to beat up the dad. That could or could not be true, right? But if that's the case, A child who beats up their parent is not going to respect any other child or any human being. They're not going to respect their peers. You know, that goes without saying, right? And so in that, parents should also know that when their children are out of control and it is beyond their conception or understanding, we need to reach out for help and get people outside of the family to help. Because when children are out of control and parents cannot get to their children or encourage their children or coerce their children to see another way of doing things, our society will be in trouble. And that makes for matters such as Austin and his twin brother controlling track meets, controlling their schools, bullying other students and other children. They have what do you would call that? A reputation. They have a reputation of doing so, right? For the young man who invited Karmelo under the tent, I say this again, and it's unfortunate. Karmelo Anthony's parents did not teach him what true friendship is. Because there's many of questions that I have, and I know many other people have. How could you call yourself someone's friend, invite them under the tent, and did not speak on his behalf to say, oh, no, he's good. I told him he can come and shelter from the rain. He did not speak up for Karmelo. And then he went to court, as I mentioned earlier, and lied under oath. That is also something that needs to be targeted with this new team, because if society allows that to happen, you would have allowed people who don't have respect for authority, who think that the rules don't apply to them, they would think that they can go to court and lie under oath. I don't know if you know, but back in the day when Little Kim lied under oath, she went to jail for 1 year.
Ooh.
She's a rapper. Little Kim is a rapper. When she lied under oath and they discovered that she lied while in court, she went to jail. She was sentenced for 1 year. We cannot allow for that gentleman to go into court and lie and speak as if he didn't know who Karmelo Anthony is. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Karmelo Anthony is a great kid. 3.8 GPA. He's first in his track team. He's the star football player of his team. They just moved into the neighborhood. There were many students that envied him, and he didn't realize that he was on the table. And it is unfortunate that his parents did not teach him that, because it seems as if the parents did not care or they minimized who he was as a human being. I say again, I watched an interview where Karmelo's father said he did not know Karmelo was that great until this happened. And I scratch my head because I want to know, how are you raising a child? How do you have a son and not know that your son is this great until he murdered someone and until there is a trial where he is facing murder? It leaves a lot to question and query about, right? And it's blatant that his father is not standing on solid principle, right? It is embarrassing to our community that his parents are concerned about money, but they have a son, a good kid. Karmelo saved someone's life a couple of years ago from drowning, a little Caucasian boy. A child was drowning, and this is when they were living in Mississippi. Or was it Louisiana? I forgot. I think it's Mississippi. But so that also tells me that he knows how to swim. Not only do he know how to swim, he knows how to save someone from drowning. I don't know if many of you know about swimming, and when it comes to saving people from drowning, they will teach you to swim up and get behind the person to save them. Because oftentimes when you try to save someone from drowning, they will drown you because they're frantic and excited and they're just trying to stay above water and not die. And oftentimes they push the person that's trying to save them underwater with them. So to save someone, you have to swim up and come behind them. So him saving someone from drowning tells me that he's sharp. He remembers what he's taught and he applies what he's taught. He has a compassionate heart. He wouldn't stand and watch someone lose their life, nor would he stand and watch someone get bullied or, humiliated if he could help it. Parents work hard for their children to do the right thing. And here it is, we have Karmelo Anthony that has been doing the right thing. And now he's in jail facing 35 years. Which leads me to the next thing. With his parents, and mental health is something that many of you know. If you know me by now, you know I talk about mental health and personality disorders. I don't know what was going on in Karmelo's household. Neither of us do. But just I can guess by how his parents are handling themselves that he was dealing with some type of humiliation in his own household. And in that, if you're dealing with bullying and humiliation, abuse, or you name it, in your own household, it is extremely difficult to maintain your temper when you're out in the world. It is extremely difficult. And oftentimes children react or overreact when they come from environments that is not healthy or safe for them, and can cause situations in what we see here where Karmelo Anthony has taken someone's life. Now, there are videos that's showing that there were 4 boys that walked up to him. They didn't show those recordings in court, right? Those videos were concealed. But now, a little by little, we are starting to see videos are released where there were 4 people that walked up to him. There was no need for 4 people to walk up to him. They were a threat to him. And of course, they're not showing the actual video that we want to see yet, but I've seen recordings from a distance where there were 4 boys that walked up to the tent, walked up to where he were, and they stopped right there at the front of the tent. We could clearly see that. Does anyone have any questions or want to chime in at the moment? So anyway, I'll go on as in to say.
So far, it's very informative. I'm just sitting back and listening to everything you're saying.
I'm sorry, say that again. And could you please speak a little louder because...
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, yes.
Okay, that's why you're speaking. I said right now it's very informative. I'm just sitting back listening to what's being said. I don't think that it was right that what they did to him and the fact that humiliation was done to him, the torment was done to him in his house. And for things to be triggered and, things to be triggered so far in what was done underneath the tent. And for him to get the time that was done, I just don't think that he deserved all that. And that's just me just speaking. That's just my opinion.
And I agree with you. It's unfortunate, right? We have 2 families that are suffering here, right? The Metcalfs are also suffering, and Austin is also a good kid as far as the grades, and he plays sports and he does what he's supposed to do, right? So he was going to go on and go to college and, get the job and you name it. So both families are suffering. But how many times, what was I can't remember his name, but the young kid a couple of years ago that shot a couple people at the church or whatever, he took the plea deal, and what they give him 2 years, he had gotten less than 5 years, right? And that in his case, he went completely out of his way to shoot a few people, right? So clearly, it was discrimination, whether it was race or he doesn't like Christianity. We don't know, right? Because he went to a church to do that. So what we're saying here with Karmelo, and I am in such agreement with you, that the way his family, his parents handled this matter was not in his best interest, and they did not seek outside counsel, right? So it just seems as if the entire system did not care about Karmelo, nor did they have any respect for his parents. And I say this again, his parents had a year to show the world what they were made of. They had a year. So they showed the world that they're selfish and they don't care about their son. Karmelo, what's his name? The Metcalf's father even said that they don't care about him. And they walked out of the courtroom and did not wait to hear the sentencing. It's very clear, right? And Karmelo has a spirit that although his parents don't care about him in that way, he still has the spirit to be a successful young man. Because we have had plenty of children that comes from households and backgrounds where their parents didn't care about them and they made a ton of bad decisions. They don't get good grades. They have no intentions to go to college. They're not doing good things in their community, nor are they good to their siblings or friends or anyone in the community. And it is the opposite for Karmelo, which means that Karmelo is destined for greatness. Karmelo Anthony is spiritually led, and he is destined for greatness in spite of the household in which he comes from. Does anybody else have any questions or anything that you would like to state?
I'm just agreeing to what you're saying.
Okay. And this is LaToya, right?
Correct, ma'am.
Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well and staying cool.
Yes, most definitely. Yes.
Doing well and staying cool. I got this strong fan going in the background.
Yes. Yes,
many people think that the judge is retiring because he knows that he did the wrong thing. And I'm going to say that the judge, it was already in the plans for him to retire, right? Should the judge be held accountable? I think the judge should be held accountable. Now, how will that accountability work for him, being that he will be retired in another 5 months? He is also to oversee 2 murder cases before he leaves, right? But there's no reason for him to care at this point. Now, we all know that to get an appeal takes some years. But what these fine attorneys, did all of you get to hear who the attorneys were and the amount of years of practice that they have under their belts between the 5 of them? They have 139 years of law practice between the 5 of them. We have some elite people that are on this council. I call them, they're like the Avengers, a good conglomerate of people, a diverse group of people who are taking on this case pro bono. Pro bono. And I hope that good people are talking to Karmelo and that he just hangs in there. And what I'm hoping for Karmelo is that he opens his eyes and see who's really for him and who's not. Because he will get an appeal. I strongly believe that he will get this appeal. But when he comes out, I need him to be very astute as to who he should trust. His girlfriend created a social media page for him, an Instagram page. I forgot what it says, support Karmelo or something of that effect. So she's still supporting him. It is unfortunate that he is in this situation. And I say again that this was a matter of envy. It was a matter of envy, and it is a matter of the personality that harbors hostility because of envy, more so than it is racism. Now, the system itself, it will handle this matter as from a racist lens, because of course, how dare an indigenous person take the life of a young Caucasian person? However, the matters at hand between these young men are things that we don't talk about enough. And it is also envy. Bullying, relational aggression, these types of behavior stems from envy and insecurities. Now, oftentimes society would like to run or shy away from these topics. And I understand that it is because most people or many people in society know that they kind of relate to this type of behavior. However, when it is not handled correctly, this is what, the worst of it can look like. Any questions or any statements? Okay, so how many of you are just happy that he has a new team? And how many of you knew that Mr. Crump would get involved?
Good.
So you saying that how many people is happy that he has a new team, and what else did you say, ma'am?
You know what? 1 second. Let me take off the fan.
Sure.
Because I can't hear you. Okay. Say that again.
You stated that how many people knew that he has a new team, and you stated something else, ma'am.
Yes, and how many of you knew that or thought that Mr. Benjamin Crump would get involved? Ben Crump.
Who's Bill Crump? I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me pull him up.
Okay.
Right. So Ben Crump, he's an American attorney who specializes in civil rights and catastrophic personal injury cases such as wrongful death lawsuits, etc. But aside from that, Ben Crump, you might as well call him like the celebrity attorney. He's the attorney that you would see in high profile cases. Like case in point, if there's police brutality, and it doesn't matter what state it happened in, but if there's a matter of police brutality or injustices, like they said, wrongful deaths, it doesn't matter what state it has happened in, oftentimes you would see Benjamin Crump step up to handle the caseload. So I wasn't surprised that he will eventually be involved with this Karmelo Anthony case. Now, he did not get involved previously because, of course, the parents had already hired an attorney. But now that this is the results of the case, He's gotten involved, and not only has he gotten involved, so he himself is not involved in the case. He has Brooke Claus, which is a sister. I'm not sure how old she is. She seems to be 35, 36. Let's say younger than 40. She has 5 years of practice under her belt, and she is from the Ben Crump Law PLLC firm out in Frisco, Texas. So, as I said before, he has gotten some elite group of people. There's a Gary L. Bledsoe, who's operating from the Bledsoe Law Firm, PLLC, out in Austin, Texas. Gary has 50 years of practice under his belt. There's a Russell Wilson II. He has 30 years of practice under his belt. Sean has 11 years of practice. And Michael L. Warr has 43 years of practice. So between the five of them, there is 139 years of practice under their belt. I envision that they're going to go through this case with a fine-tooth comb. You hear me? A fine-tooth comb. They're leaving no stone unturned.
Permission to speak.
Sure.
Well, did Latoya rest?
I speak hypothetically. I think that he's going to win this case.
Okay.
So go right ahead, Mr. Joffrey.
All right, thank you, Latoya. You asked how many people think, are surprised or whatever about him having a new team. A new team may or may not be good. You called off the names of different people and the years that they've had practice in law, but law has different categories. See, so if they're all like Benjamin Trump, who is a civil trial attorney, okay, not necessarily a criminal. See, him and Johnny Cochran both practice law, but Benjamin Trump, in my understanding, does not practice criminal law. He's only about civil. And if all those people that you spoke of are civil trial attorneys, they may not be adequate to do anything, because there's certain things that have to be proven in an appeal for an appeal to be overturned. I'm not going to talk a long time because I'm not an attorney, okay? And what I'm saying is what I'm figuring from the things that I've heard and I've experienced. But there's nuances. There's nuances that I wish there was an actual attorney on the line, a criminal attorney that could speak. I did see something on YouTube. I think it was Shannon Sharp interviewed a criminal attorney. And his assessment, he says he's getting a lot of flack, but he was coming from the legal aspects of this situation. And so, okay, I don't want the man played with. I don't want a show. If he can get someone that can find the holes in the state's case or the defense's ineffective counsel, those are the things that might get this young man some grace, if you will. And with that, I yield.
Okay, I thank you, Joffrey, for your input, but I like to have faith that this conglomerate of attorneys that they've cultivated to work on the appeal have different backgrounds. Like Russell Wilson II, who has 30 years of law under his belt. He is a criminal defense attorney. I truly believe that all of the attorneys that are on board for this case specialize in different backgrounds to where they will leave no stone unturned, right? So let me look up Brooke for a second, who she's with Crump's law firm, right? So let me look her up to see what she practices. And I'll tell you. So, all right, so she would be more civil rights under in the direction of Ben Crump, but Ben Crump is not on the case. But she, who works at his firm, is actually on the case. So let me go through the other attorneys and let you know what I see here. So Sean, DIA attorney. Let's see what Sean. So Sean is civil rights and criminal defense, right? I don't know if he's Caucasian or is he mixed, but yeah. Now we have, one second, let me go to the other attorney, Michael L. War. So he's another criminal defense attorney, Michael War. And let's go to the last person, which is Gary Bledsoe. Bledsoe. So Gary Bledsoe is also a prominent civil rights and employment attorney. So I truly believe that he has got a diverse set of people, even from with their background. Few of them are criminal defense. And what I like about this is their years of practice, and they will look at the case from a different lens and then bring it all in. So I truly believe that they have a good strategy and that this will work. I don't think that these attorneys would form a group, come together like Voltron or the Avengers to take on this case if they thought that they wouldn't win. I don't see them doing it, right? And they're not getting paid to do it. So I'm sure that they will find reason to argue that this case was not properly handled. And I am looking forward to see what that turns out to be. Does anybody else have any questions or statements?
Hello?
Yes.
I felt from the beginning that it was to teach people like me, melanated, that I can kill other melanated people, but I can't be killing Caucasians. To me, that's the bottom line. Kill your own. Don't be killing.
I think
it's a signal to melanated people.
Okay. I thank you for that. I'm going to say that, I mentioned it earlier, Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is going to shift the paradigm. They will be the reasons for the paradigm shift. Because just what this was, were you L? Was that L from Long Island?
That was just Joyce.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Joyce.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wanted to know who I was. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's how I feel. It doesn't matter who I am. That's what I believe.
No, tell who you are.
I understand. That's okay. It's
Okay.
Joyce. That's okay. It's okay. Joyce, I understand where you're coming from, but what I'm saying is, and this is new generation, right? We can't go on to have this stigma or this mentality that they are superior to us when they're not. God created all human beings, right? No human being or no group, let's say this, no group of people is more superior than the other. And that's what we're going to get rid of. So Karmelo Anthony was showing like he had no fear and he didn't have that. In fact, the thought of that would have probably also pushed him over the edge. You're another human being just like me. You don't get to tell me to move from under this tent as if I'm a dog or not a human being, as if I'm not sheltering from the rain. No, right? And so we need to remove these types of isms from our mentality and from our thought, from our speech. They are human beings as us, equal human beings as us. And so I firmly state again, what transpired with this case is going to shift the paradigm of how this nation handles racism, personality disorders, bullying, relational aggression, you name it. No human being is superior to the other.
It doesn't have to do with superiority. It's about survival. I don't believe it's about superiority. People know that, at least I think most of us know that nobody's superior to us, and we're not superior to anybody else. I'm just telling you the signals that they put out. Kill your own, leave us alone, okay? Simple. I don't...
Okay, I have a question. What signal do they put out when they kill black people? What's the signal?
We feel we're large and in charge, so what the hell? You ever saw anybody get 35 years for killing? Have you ever seen that? It's an exhibit called Without Sanctuary. Look, maybe you can find it on YouTube or something. It's called Without Sanctuary, and from what I understand, I think Dr. Clark said that's where we got the name picnic from. But if you get a chance, go on YouTube, search and whatever. Without Sanctuary is the name of the exhibit. And next week, talk about it.
Okay. I know where picnic came from, though. I know the basis for the word, right? And because the full term was called pick a nigga, right? And so that's where they would just select or have those of us that they would hang from a tree and set on fire and burn the skin, and they would all burn our skin or burn us, set us on fire. Then they would all be around watching as if this was a movie or something that is a good thing to participate in.
With their food baskets, having an outing. We need to not use that word. We need to not use it. You're having an outing or a day in the park or whatever. My family, we're having an outing. We're going to be out that day, a day away from home. Anything but a picnic.
I get you. I understand, Joyce.
Permission to speak. To get back to the topic, Karmelo Anthony. The reason I mentioned the attorneys and their background, what they specialize in, Okay. They may not be getting money immediately, but one thing that they're getting from the door is advertisement. Their names are getting out there. Okay. But if they are ineffective because they don't have the background, now you named, what was it, 2 or was it 3, the actual criminal attorney? See, civil law is very different from criminal.
No,
and that's why
Ben Crump is not a civil law. He's civil rights. He's a civil rights attorney.
That's still civil. That's why it's in the name.
Yeah.
Now,
let me read.
The thing is, this would be if it. I'll put it this way: when they're successful, and this is overturned, that's a heck of a 1983 case. That's been Crump's forte. Okay,
Yeah, but
civil rights.
He's not on the case. Someone from his law firm is on the case. The other attorneys. So here's why I say we got to have faith, right? What you're saying is that Ben Crump and everybody that he puts together, that they're amateurs. Who
said that? Whoa! I didn't say that.
I didn't say you
said
that.
I didn't say that at all. Oh, okay.
I didn't say you said that, but listening to what you said, it seems as if that they haphazardly put people together to deal with this case. And you said that they were getting advertisement. Do you remember the years of practice that all of them have under their belts?
Yes.
We're talking about people that's been practicing for 30 years, 50 years.
But they weren't criminal attorneys is what I'm saying. There is a difference between criminal law and civil law.
I need you to listen to what I said.
I'm going to go on mute and say no more.
Okay. Few of them are criminal defense attorneys. So what we're saying, and this is what I say about us with our strategy as a people, we have to, or we should, get more into, get away from the one-track mind way of seeing things. These are 5 attorneys with different backgrounds. So it's important to remember the backgrounds of all attorneys. All expertise are needed, as I said before, because they're going to look at the case from different lenses, considering their backgrounds. And in that, all of their education, all of their experience is going to play a major role in how they take another look at this case. It's imperative to understand that, because oftentimes I think with us also, and I get it because of our history, that sometimes we don't have faith in the process. Sometimes we think that the process is not going to work before it even takes off, right? And so that takes away from the collective energy that we need to succeed as a group, as a collective of people. Now, self-preservation. Now, Joyce talked about preservation, right? So there's self-preservation is the first law of nature, right? But then there's also something that's called, what about ethnic preservation? As a group, collectively, we're not doing the best to preserve ourselves ethnically. And so I truly have great hope and beyond hope that we're going to get some good response with this new team and their fresh eyes looking at this case.
Yeah, Crump knows what he's doing.
Yes, I agree. I have to agree that he knows what he's doing. This Crump is someone that has eyes on him. He's in the news. He's on social media. Every time there is a civil rights matter or a discrimination matter, he's on the job and he's talking. He cannot afford to be haphazard, lackadaisical, or come short with anything that he does. Anyone else have any questions or anything to say? It is 8:12. I can't believe how time flies.
Oh, wow. When you're having fun.
Yeah.
Great show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So did I hear something? Let me go ahead and announce once again. Saturday, August 8th. Let me put the light on for the camera. Saturday, August 8th. We will have our third annual Dis-Ease Prevention Convention and Health Forum on Saturday, August 8th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. There will be over 20 speakers that will be there. We will have, there will be vendors. People will sell herbs, teas, oils, you name it, all things health, you name it. Come on down, meet the people, get involved. If you would like to have a table, be sure to call Forrest Nance. His number is on the back of the flyer for a table. Also, because guys, I rarely remember all the other shows and the names. Mr. Bill Graves is going to come on after me. I'm not sure what he's discussing this evening. And after Bill Graves will be Baba Joe. I'm not sure what Baba Joe will be discussing this evening. But let me go on and state that Thursdays at 6 p.m., there is Dr. Bell. She discusses food nutrition. The name of her show is called Feeling Nourished. On Wednesday at 6 p.m., we have the No Longer Silent podcast, where Sister Francesca talks about domestic violence. Also, Wednesday evenings, we have Grandma Remedy, where the couple, they talk about this potent, how would I call it, elixir that they put together that is good for the body. Brother Bill Graves, his show is called The Real American. It's time to wake up. And don't forget, Brother Forrest Nance comes on this Saturday at 6 p.m. Brother Forrest Nance will be discussing with Dr. Aris Latham. Dr. Aris Latham is stationed in Dominica. He will be tuning in to discuss how he prepares food, and he calls it sun-fired. So I want to say that he cooks his food. He allows the sun to cook the food, so he doesn't put a lot of heat to his food. And being that he's out in the Caribbean, he's having all the fresh fruits, juices, vegetables, you name it. He doesn't have to worry about chemtrails and some of the things that we talk about, what's happening with our food in today's time. So tune in on Saturday at 6:10 p.m. to hear what Brother Dr. Aris Latham has to say. Also, next Thursday, I will be talking with DeQuee. DeQuee has some interesting background, and she's going to discuss her advocacy, or the advocacy work that she has been doing concerning political prisoners of war. Political prisoners of war, and then some. All of you know Sister DeQuee. She's usually on the call, but she's getting ready to fly out to Atlanta, so she's not on the call this evening. Tune in next Thursday at 7:15 p.m. to hear what she has to say. Until then, I would thank you all for tuning in. See you next week, and see you on the show with Bill Graves. Have a good night, all.
As well.